Hello guys and girls, how are you? Today I've put a video on the Instagram channel about how to fool people that you're a Brit. So check it out. So if you want to fool people to think that you are a Brit, then you have to first of all be very polite, or pretend to be if you're not, and say sorry to everything. I say many in the video, but one I didn't say, that I can tell you, is that if you are behind dawdlers, people walking slowly, and you have to rush past them, you would say sorry. Other typical ways to show your Britness is being polite by holding the door open or giving up your seat to somebody on public transport. I'm going to be looking at live in tomorrow's story, but there's another word that's very similar, leave. So when you leave somewhere, you exit, that's leave, it's an E sound. Live is an IV sound. Today and this week, I'm going to be looking at the word live because there's so many phrases and phrasal verbs that it's great to know, and the pronunciation of it as well, because sometimes it's that word that got cut out was live, which is the adjective. Live is the verb, and what is live? So we are all living, we are alive because we're not dead. Your house or your home is where you live. So if you want to know where someone lives, then you can ask them, well, where do you live? If there is a disaster, it is something that people live through. So in the Philippines and in North Carolina, there is flooding, so people are living through that. If someone does die and they have children, it is often said that they live on through their children, which doesn't make sense because they are dead and their children are other people. If you have a passion, it can be said that you live for that passion. So, my passion is teaching English. I live for teaching English. The adjective live as well, let's look at that. So if something's live, it means it's happening now. You'll often see in pubs it says live music. That means you go there and they'll be playing live, and football games, they're live. Also, if you're dealing with electrical equipment or wires, essentially if it's open and there's an electric current in it, you can say that wire is live. Hello! I am today going to look at some phrases for live. First one is as I live and breathe, and that's when you're surprised by something, you see someone, you haven't seen them in a while. As I live and breathe, wasn't expecting to see you today. Another one with live and breathe means something that you're devoted to. So teaching English, I live and breathe teaching English. A proverb with live is live and let live, similar to let it be. You accept and tolerate other people's opinions and behaviour because they should respect yours. Depends what their behaviour is, to be fair. Live dangerously. If you live dangerously, you're a daredevil. You do risky things, you jump out of planes. You're like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, he lives dangerously. If you live in hope, that means you're an optimistic person, you're a positive person, and you always see the good in everything. However, if you live in the past, it's quite the opposite. You are people that voted for Brexit. They live in the past. Controversial. And they're not open-minded about. If you live it up, that means that you live an exciting life. You like to party and socialise. Yeah, I like to live it up sometimes. Hey everybody, more phrases today for live. Live out of a suitcase. This is someone who travels a lot and doesn't need too many things, so they got everything they need just in a suitcase. Some people live out of a suitcase out of choice, some don't, and they live rough. So this is people that don't have a home. Do you live your own life? That's another phrase, live one's own life. And that means you are independent and you do what you like. You don't follow the crowd. You're not a sheep. If you have a traumatic experience or go through an ordeal, you live, hopefully live to fight another day. That's another phrase. Let's hope we all don't live to regret something. We probably will. In fact, there's many things I regret. Tell me, what's the thing that you regret the most in your life? Has anything dangerous ever happened to you where you could have died, but you lived to tell the tale? Tell me, I'll put it as a question. I actually did live. I almost died 10 years ago, but I'm still going. If you lack knowledge of what's happening in the news or in the world, you could say, have you been living under a rock? I actually have, because I very rarely watch news. It's so depressing. If your actions are disgusting, terrible, horrible actions, people could say, how can you live with yourself? If there's something that you love, really exciting, enjoyable thing you've done, like a parachute jump or a bungee jump, and somebody hasn't done that, you can say, you haven't done a bungee jump, you haven't lived. This is one that I use a lot because I learn stuff, as you should do, all the time. And when you do learn something new, you can say, you live and learn. Hey guys, today I'm going to be looking at phrasal verbs with live. So the first one is live something down. This is when something like traumatic or embarrassing has happened to you and, have you lived that down? Okay, I'll give you an example for not living it down. Have you seen bridesmaids when they're trying on the bridesmaids' dresses and they get sick and they need to poo and one of them does poo in the street? They would never live that down. You should watch Bridesmaids if you haven't. It's a terrific film. Next one is live off. So some people live off their parents, perhaps. People that stay at home and they don't move on to living by themselves. They are living off their parents. Also, live on. So there you could say, if someone's poor, how much money do you need to live on? And also with live on, if somebody eats the same meals all the time, so you could say, Tom, he lives on bacon and egg sandwiches. That's not healthy. If you live up to something, your expectations, perhaps you want to be someone, do something, you have goals, then hopefully you will live up to achieve them. Live with, now that actually means to live with someone in the same home, but also if you have to tolerate something, like perhaps you're married to an arse, you just have to deal and live with it.